Should Cam Skattebo been a Heisman finalist?
What's his name, homie? One more time.
Cam Skattebo.
Why you say Skattebo so country? Skattebo.
I mean, you can't have that name and be like hood.
Cam Skattebo. Yes, Cam Skattebo.
You can't have that name. Now listen, we're speaking like, hindsight 2020 and all this shit. Now we always after the fact ass cats. That's what people do after the fact shit. He wasn't invited. I thought he should have been from the gate anyway. I think he still was a top running back in the country from what I saw, what he did for that Arizona State team. He clearly was the heartbeat of that team. I thought that deserved a Heisman candidacy.
Me too.
But he didn't get it. And then we get to see him in the playoff and see him run around and carry a team versus a superior Texas team. Now we're looking at it today, talking about should he have been at least in the conversation. That I don't believe he got a lot of conversation. It wasn't a piece of the conversation. I thought he deserved at least that. So I'll leave it at that. But hindsight 2020, I don't like to go back and talk about something shoulda, coulda, woulda. It is what it is. I think the committee got a lot of things wrong. Heisman committee plus the selection committee. That's just me. So I'll just leave it at that. That's my take. Smitty, go ahead real quick before we move on.
I wouldn't have minded having him there over Dylan Gabriel, but I understand, you're the quarterback with good stats on the best team in the country, so I get it. I don't think they got it wrong for who they picked, but if Cam was there instead of Dylan Gabriel, I don't think anybody would have been like, "Oh my God, that's a Dylan got robbed. That's insane. No way he should be there." Like, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where he had a good enough season to where if he wasn't New York, cool. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those type of things, man. And yeah, I just think to your point, he didn't get a lot of love and shine. One, because of the school that he's at, and then two, I mean, he's not the most flat. Now he has some really good highlights. Don't get me wrong. But he's not like the most like flashy type player. Like, he's a football player. He hard nosed, break tackles. He has a little bit of a wiggle. He'll show you a little something every now and then, but he's not the guy who's gonna go out there and just probably make the super duper crazy, sexy play, Heisman moment play per se that they're looking for. So he kind of was under the radar. But this man's been balling for a couple years. I remember seeing him last year ball out. So I'm
gonna be honest, dog. I would have put him in over Dylan Gabriel as well for the simple fact that we need to stop allowing grown 30-year-olds, and I'm exaggerating here, but goddamn, Dylan Gabriel's been in college since when? 17, 18? Well, when are we going to let kids, that's what I know college players to be for the most part, kids, when are we going to see them become Heisman Trophy candidates? When are we going to see kids actually be recognized? I'm trying to figure out why we would even put a guy that's 25, 26 years old in the goddamn thing. How old is Dylan Gabriel? 24, 23, 24 already? Come on, man. Let these kids play the game and earn it. Why are they going against grown men? I don't like that. I want to see the kids. And I know this kid's a little older too. But I think Dylan Gabriel's 24 years old.
Yeah, he my age.
I mean, he's chasing fucking Bo Nix down. And we're going to talk about Saquon Barkley later today, chasing Eric Dickerson's record. But I think, because I've said it, Saquon would have an asterisk next to his name if he were to top Eric Dickerson because of the game extension, the one more game. But goddamn, does Dylan Gabriel not deserve an asterisk for having 18,000 yards passing? Fuckers played 7 years, homie. I mean, I'm just saying, dog. Like, I just don't understand. I don't get it. Like, we gotta put a cutoff on this shit, man. Gotta put a cutoff on this college football thing, man.
I hear you. I definitely hear you, man. Well, let's stay on topic here. We're talking about Cam Skattebo. Obviously, we kind of briefly talked about the game, Arizona State versus Texas. Texas, they ended up taking out Arizona State in 2 overtimes, man, double overtime win. Texas was at one point, as we mentioned, was up by 16 points. At one point, I think it was third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. And Arizona State, led by our guy Skattebo, came back to tie it at 24. Texas kicker actually missed 2 potential game-winning field goals in regulation. And man, this was a crazy just overall game that went down, and to me, it arguably, I mean, I think this has probably been the best game I would say so far, best bowl game I would say, just in terms of just the overall how it went. You know what I'm saying? The comeback, the excitement, the underdogs almost winning, the missed field goals. It was like a lot of just emotions up and down throughout. And you know, me personally, I love an underdog, and this game for me was just an example of like showing, hey, just give a team a chance. Sometimes you give a team a chance, and you see these are the results. They almost took down a Texas team that nobody outside of Arizona thought had a real chance of doing it. But this right here shows you, nah, man, like football is more than just the Jimmys and Joes. It is X's and O's, but beyond that, it's the intangibles that you can't see. It's the heart, and you can't test heart. You can't read heart. You know, you don't see heart as one of the tests. You know, you can do a vertical test, a 40-yard dash, a 3-cone, a bench press, all that's cool, but you can't test heart. And I think they just showed heart last night, even though that they fell short. Man, they put on a show. They left it all on the field. We saw Skattebo throwing up at one point, which again, we play football, like that's like a normal thing. Players are always throwing up. You know, the media's going, oh my God, he's throwing up. But to that point, like, hey, maybe he wasn't feeling that good. Maybe he ate too much, drank too much. Who knows what was going on? But to see that game, that battle, it was phenomenal. In Texas, on the other hand, man, I have some concerns with them. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think they're going against Ohio State, who looks amazing, which we'll get to them in a minute. But Texas got to clean some stuff up, man, on both sides of the ball. Quinn Ewers has to be better. Their defense definitely has to be better, and they have to learn how to be able to sustain wins and sustain leads. So that's my overall reaction, though, JB. I know you said a little bit earlier, but what's your, I guess, you know, overall reaction to it?
I don't judge a great game by one quarter. And just because we got to see an ending of a game that was good doesn't mean the game was good overall. The football in college in this playoffs have been disappointment, to say the very least. And I'm being nice. I'm trying to be nice today with that. Disappointing would be the very least. It was 24-8 football game entering the fourth quarter, Smitty. It wasn't like it was a barn burner back and forth. The missed field goal and shit, that's a you problem, not mine. I didn't like the fact that Sark talked to the kicker before the kick. I got to see that on the boat. We're out there taking on a little few swells. I was laughing my ass off. And Ruben was out there. Ruben in the chat. Hopefully Ruben made it home.
Hopefully.
And I'm like, he shanks the kick. I'm like, why would you talk to him that long? That's just a cardinal rule that I used to have, and I think a lot of coaches agree. Don't talk to the kicker, because we surely tell y'all to stay away from the kicker as players if we're the coach. Stay the fuck away from the kicker, Smitty. I think you know that. It's like a cardinal rule. We all know.
Leave him alone.
I didn't like that Sark talked to him. I talked to one kicker in my life before a big kick, and he made it. And I said, I'll never do it again. Because that wasn't going to change it. And that was a kid that we had beat Butler my first year at Indy, which was a huge upset. First time in 30 years beating Butler at Independent. And we kicked like a 48-yarder at the buzzer to beat him. We came back all the way from 19-3 down and beat him my first year there, rebuilding Indy. And I said, I'll never do it again, though. I'll never do it again. I saw that, and I'm like, why are you talking to this kicker? And I'm on a boat sitting out there, a yacht, sitting out there in the ocean. And I was like, don't talk to that motherfucker. But anyway, that doesn't justify a good game to me. You missed a field goal, you came back, you had a safety, all this shit that happens that everybody's talking about was a good game. That's just it. Fine. That was a great climax, but it wasn't.
Y'all looking at the 24-8. That was a real brief. It was 24-8 for a little bit. Like it was 17-8 for a long time. 17 for like to where.
No, it wasn't. I know that much. It was not. I know that much, and I'm on a yacht, Smitty. How you gonna tell me, homie? What? It was 17-3. And then they got a safety, and it was 17-5 as they entered the second half, and then it was 17-8.
Yeah, okay.
8 going into the fourth quarter, 24-8. It was 24-8. 24-8.
I was like, okay, but it was 17-8.
Yeah, but still though, that's not a good game. Okay, look,
you wasn't watching the game though, so like you just looking at like the overview.
Yeah,
you're look at the score. That's not gonna tell you the full picture on me.
I'll concede to that. But I know the score. And then I'm looking at the game from that point on. I'm like, oh, it was 17-3. And it was 17-5. I'm like, well, this ain't a barn burner. That's my point. This ain't like a back and forth barn burner.
All in low. I ain't gonna lie to you. ASU's defense, other than a few plays, was balling. And that's why they were keeping them in the game. The 24-8. That's what I was like, all right.
And then I watched the 2 4th and 1s on the goal line that literally, I'm sitting there like, Kenny, what are you doing? We watched this before. Like Smitty, I know enough about football. Like, I'm watching this shit. I don't need to like I say all the time, don't just hear me, listen.
Yeah.
I can watch. Doesn't mean I don't see, motherfucker. That's the same goddamn thing. I see on 4th and 1 where I've seen Texas spike off the edge against a couple other teams and hit them in the mouth on 4th and 1, and Arizona State did it twice. Arizona State had missed 2 touchdown opportunities. They could have won the game if we're looking at it that way.
But that's my point, though, too. I'm glad you
brought that up. That's how football works,
though. It's not like ASU was just getting fucking 3 and outs. Like, nah, they were getting down the field. They just couldn't finish. Yeah. So, I was like, all right. As a fan, it was keeping me entertained. It was keeping me feeling like, damn, they got a chance. It wasn't like they were just getting their ass beat. So,